A man wakes up distraught in a dark cave. He is waist-deep in a puddle of murky water covered in mud. He struggles to find his way to land. He looks around, trying to make sense of his surroundings. He suddenly sees a skeleton holding a lit flashlight. He grabs the flashlight and uses it to look around the cave further. He crawls up into an incline in the cave's wall until he reaches a room barricaded with metal walls and equipment. He tries forcing open the walls, to no avail. We follow the story of this man, named Tolbiac. He does not remember who he is, and does not know where he is, or how he got there in the first place. All of a sudden, projections of women speaking appear on the wall behind him, informing him that he is a possible candidate for their society. After the projection stops, he forces the rotating metal door around to get into the other side. A series of projections light up, showing a network that looks to be the roots of a huge tree. Tolbiac tries interacting with the wires around him, trying to figure things out. He is able to turn the fans and lights on. He returns to the room where the projections of the women are speaking. We find out that he is tasked to be a part of the maintenance below Eden Log, a paradise for the people above ground. He is promised that if he looks after the power, society will look after him. He just has to wait to be called to join the people above to enjoy paradise. The room lights up even further, and he starts seeing bundles of lit-up roots all around. Tolbiac roams around, inspecting each one of the hanging bundles. He rounds a corner where he finds a pile of discarded old clothes. He immediately puts them on to keep himself warm. After some time looking around, he suddenly hears a loud, ominous sound. He hides behind some equipment and tries to look for the source of the sound. Flashes of light suddenly appear, filling up the whole room. He walks toward them and sees a puddle of water. He decides to clean himself up, getting rid of the mud on his body as much as he can. Tolbiac continues walking until he sees a man trapped in the roots, covered in filth. He weakly asks Tolbiac who he is, but he is not sure himself. The roots pull the man apart, and he screams in distress. He yells at Tolbiac to stay away, because he will awaken something. Tolbiac takes a step back and asks the man where they are. The man does not answer him, but gives him a warning, saying that he does not have any idea how Tolbiac was able to survive, but he should stay away from him or he will be in danger. Tolbiac turns back the way he came from, but stops and turns back to the man, in the hopes of getting some answers. He wants to get out of there. The man insists that there is nowhere for him to go, nothing is waiting for him on the surface, and he already put an end to everything. Soon enough, the whole world will know the truth. The roots tug on his limbs further as the man wails in agony. He pleads with Tolbiac once more that there is nowhere he can go, and to stay away. Tolbiac hears the loud sound again, and this time it becomes more persistent. He asks the man what the sound is, and where it is coming from, but it seems the man cannot hear it. However, he knows what it is. He tells Tolbiac that hearing it means it is already too late for him. It is the end of what he used to be as a person, and he should just then and there. He repeatedly insists that Tolbiac cannot escape from it. The room starts to shake around him, and his head starts to ache badly, causing him to pass out. When he wakes up, he is in a different room. The man stuck to the roots is no longer in sight. The room is incredibly small, so he has to crawl around to explore it. He touches a wall, and suddenly the room traps him in a box that slowly starts moving, seeming like a small elevator. A figure of a person appears, and he tries calling out to him. When the figure does not answer, he starts swinging the elevator, trying to find an escape, but the elevator suddenly snaps, and he quickly starts plummeting to the ground. He weakly crawls out of the broken elevator and walks out of another room, where he sees a rundown facility. The place contains battered equipment. A man lies motionless on the control panel. Tolbiac starts pressing some button, and the system starts booting up. A recording of a man and a woman arguing about something called Réseau Protocol can be heard through the speakers. The woman in charge from the surface level wants the technician, who is now lying motionless in the room, to open his level. He refuses to open it, unless they inform him of their objective. The woman tells him that he is not qualified for security, and he should just do what he is told. He argues that access can only be granted to technicians, and they are out of line. The woman says that it is an emergency, but the man knows that is not true. The woman sends her team and forces their way in. The security team breaches and ends the man's life. The security team takes hold of the laboratories and the technicians. They are on a cover-up mission, not wanting the world to know the truth about Eden Log. After they neutralize the labs and the technicians, they are headed to find the architect who designed the system. The recording ends there, but this did not do much to clarify things to Tolbiac. Tolbiac grabs the memory disk and heads out of the lab. He climbs up a steep ladder and reaches another cave system, where he hears another recording. He follows the sound until he sees a security team. He hides in a dark corner as they walk past him. From their conversation, they seem to be looking for someone. He enters the lab they just left to find some more clues about the place. A bundle of roots is still hanging around the ceiling. The elevator starts to activate, and Tolbiac quickly climbs up to the makeshift roof as the team enters the lab. They are discussing strategies for finding the architect. It is an easy task, since he designed the place himself. Another loud shriek echoes from an unknown creature, but this does not faze the security team, as they seem familiar with it. A fog triggers in the room, giving Tolbiac a chance to escape. He sees the gruesome creature face to face, but ignores it quickly to get away. He squeezes himself into a series of pipes going up, and slowly starts his climb until he reaches a crawl space. He enters level 2, and sees thicker roots closer to the base of the tree. He approaches it slowly, when a creature suddenly rushes towards him. A blinding light flashes in front of him, causing the creature to run away. The person in protective gear walks out from the blinding light and swings a net over Tolbiac. She drags him into the room where the blinding light appeared, and puts him to sleep. He wakes up, still inside the net. He appears to be in another laboratory, where the woman in a protective suit watches him struggle against the net. She thought that she was the only one left, until she saw Tolbiac. The place they are in is the only safe zone left in the whole area. She tries initiating small talk, but Tolbiac ignores her and continues struggling to free himself. Tolbiac tells her that he does not know anything, and asks where they are. She informs him that they are on the plantation, and the roles of the people who were once there. This still did not help him understand anything. She tells him that she was just a botanist, and does not know much about what is going on either. He insists that he needs to get out. The woman wants to do some experiments on him, to see if he is not contaminated. Tolbiac agrees and she hooks him into the machine. She did not expect the result, but suddenly hears the security team nearby. She and Tolbiac check it out. They hear the men screaming in agony as the creatures attack them. The woman gets out of the room and leaves Tolbiac behind, thinking that it will be too dangerous. He feels terrified with all the noises around him. Suddenly, a creature breaches the laboratory. Tolbiac remains silent, as it appears the creature does not have very good sight. He reaches for a rope and ties the creature up, before leaving the lab. Back in the darkness of the building, he sees more creatures lurking around the motionless bodies of the security team. They start attacking him, and he struggles to fight them back. No matter how many punches he throws at them, they do not seem to stay down. The room starts shaking again, and he sees the woman powering up the loud noises. Tolbiac sees a vision of the man in the tree being torn apart by the roots, and the roots coming out of his torso. He starts screaming in agony, like the sound the creatures around the cave make. He removes the woman's headgear, and all of a sudden, starts kissing her. He starts touching the woman, until he realizes that he is already infected by his surroundings, making him do unimaginable things. He leaves the room and helps the woman out. They reach a room full of roots, and cross waist-deep waters to get to the other side. The woman is sleeping from the fatigue from their journey, and what she has been through. Tolbiac watches her, and starts to get triggered by the infection again, making him act like one of the gruesome creatures. The woman wakes up as Tolbiac undresses her. She bites his hand, and he screams in agony, and a creature hears them from across the bank, making him snap back into reality. The two of them continue their journey on the waterway, with Tolbiac leading the way. The woman runs in another direction, but he continues moving forward. He enters another rundown lab, and finds a technician lifeless on the chair. The roots of the trees appear to have stabbed him. He brings the woman into the lab to access the data. A new recording starts playing, and they find out that the lifeless body of the man belongs to the last technician before their exit level. Their organization believed that they had created a perfect system. People tasked to work below ground suffered all the hard work and the devastating consequence just for the people on the surface to thrive. Only the plant itself can stop the mutation, but the mutated creatures cannot turn back to normal again. The lab starts shaking as the creatures struggle to enter the room. Tolbiac starts getting triggered again and turning into one of the creatures, but at the last second, he starts attacking them. He turns back to normal and helps the woman escape. They can hear the creatures wailing in the distance as they enter a narrow tunnel. They go out of a metal door that leads into a connecting narrower tunnel, where they see another lifeless body wearing an armored suit. The two of them rest for a while as she tells him about her past. She believed the creators of Eden Log and their promises to power an entire city with all their help. The woman starts running towards a light at the end of the tunnel and reaches a ladder going up. They start climbing up until they reach a tower in the middle of the room. She hurriedly climbs up the stairs with Tolbiac following closely behind. At the top, she sees a lit-up cube with a humanoid figure inside. She thinks that they are connected to the machines. Suddenly, the security team arrives, and a horde of the gruesome creatures are along with them. The woman realizes that Eden Log's power does not come from the plant itself, but it harvests people's life force in those glowing cubes. The woman starts hearing noises as well, and Tolbiac realizes that she is getting infected as well. She starts struggling to walk upright, and starts screaming like the creature. She is devastated when she realizes that she is turning into one of the creatures, but suddenly gets furious at Tolbiac, thinking that he contaminated her, and starts beating him up. The woman leaves him behind with a memory chip. He seems to remember the place he is in. He sees the security team and the creatures fighting each other, and uses this moment as an opportunity to breach into one of the control rooms. He powers the system and uses the memory chip. He sees a recording informing them that the more roots they take out, the more the plant is trying to protect itself, and it gets more toxic. He sees the security team attack each other, as it seems that some start getting infected. The first technician tried informing the team on the surface that it was getting worse down there, but their action is complete termination. Tolbiac looks around the control center, trying to gather more information. He sees surveillance footage of a man trying to return to the surface, after learning that the plantation was devastated. The man gets attacked by the mutated creature and dragged away. He accesses the security archives, and the system greets him as Tolbiac. It turns out that he was once the captain of the guards, who went down the plant before. The security team finds him in the rooms. Humans are put below ground, and are cured to be suitable as human fertilizers for the tree that powers the society above. They give him the proper gear, and he walks out of the room.